Excellency. Last question.
I thought I left this question and he went back to the. Let me be factual. I'm sure you're talking about comments from my very respectable DSC elder brother Soludo. You know, that's I and Soludo have come a long way. My brother is my friend, and he's the governor of my state. And as governor of my state, I pray for him to do very well and everything and all that. And we have to support him. It's very important that he has his own opinions. His opinion might not be the opinion of people of Anambra State. It might not be the opinion of Southeast or Nigerians. But I respect his opinion because it's his opinion. And he's a respected person as far as I'm concerned. And he's my governor. But in a clarification so that people can understand. The investment I did in Anambra State was, before I talk about investment, the only measure of development while I was governor was Millennium Development Goals. It is Millennium Development Goals that India, China, Vietnam mainstreamed into their development agenda. For China, they used it to pull 439 million people out of poverty between the year 2000 and year 2015. India, within this period, put 276 million out of poverty. And Vietnam did almost 40 to 50 million out of poverty. And these are records you can check. I became governor in 2006, was impeached end of 2006, came back. One of my greatest supporters today is one of my good supporters, the ex-president of Nigeria. One of the reasons why he's supporting me is that when they said I should give people money for me not to be impeached, I said no, I can't pay people for doing the wrong thing. I would rather go. But I came back. So, for me, the measure, they started MDG in 2000, but after my impeachment, I came back in 2007, started implementing MDG. By the time Nigeria ended MDG in 2015, Anambra State was #1. The person in charge of pulling people out of poverty in Nigeria is a man called Dr. Magnus Packard. Go and ask him. I have a certificate for being #1. He's still alive. Go to Ministry Department of Statistics. I was the first governor to do statistical record of poverty. I won a prize from Federal Ministry of Works for having the best road network. You can go to people in Anambra State. I was #1 when I started. We were number 26 and 27 in Wayaka and Neko. By the time I left, we were #1. I won the Gate Prize for health. I can go on and say this is what we achieved. But I said the overall measure is MDG. I was #1. The people who were doing it then was Amina, who is now in United Nations. I was even invited to United Nations to share my experience. And so many things are going. And collectively, the day I left office, I was not owing any contractor who have executed his job. And these are not owing for any job that a contract we awarded, but you can only pay when job is executed. I'm not owing any contractor who have executed his job. I'm not owing any supplier who has supplied anything. I'm not owing one. Examples are people like Innocent, Xerox Computer. I paid Xerox. We bought the highest amount of computer ever bought by a government in Africa. They are there. HP will tell you the same thing. I paid them 6 months up front before they supplied it to our schools. I paid Innocent 1 year before I delivered any car. You can go discipline and it's on tape, so you can go and verify all this. Above this, I I decided from day one that we must have a savings as a state, and we must save at least 10% of my total receipt by the time I leave government. Total money I received while I was governor, Anambra State received, whether it's local government, whether it's state, whether it's our local revenue, IGR, everything was about 500 and something billion naira, out of which they are left office. We had in savings 75 billion naira. And this is how the money was shared, so that you know which one is mentioned. Only one that is the money we saved is we saved in dollar. In 3 banks in Nigeria, some of you are working in those banks. Access Bank, Diamond Bank, and Fidelity Bank. In each of these banks, I had a saving of $50 million. This scenario. And they were invested at least interest of 6.5%. If you calculate it today, as at that time, it was a period of 25 billion, because there were 150 something, 160. If you calculate today with interest, it's about 250, at least $250 million. These 3 banks are there. I have in each of these banks, again invested at least 10 billion naira in 3 of them, making it 30 billion at an average interest, call it even 10%. If you calculate it, that money today would have been about 60 billion. Remember what I left is 75 as you calculated them. So then the third one is investment I did in various companies. NIPP, we have $59 million in it. The one that they're saying is worthless is that we invested 3.5 billion in international breweries. International breweries is what you can call a global company. It's a part of AB InBev, which is the biggest brewer in the whole world. We had a policy while I was governor that any factory, anybody who wants to, foreign investor who wants to invest in Anambra State, we will buy 10% of the company, and under the condition that we will sign an agreement with him that he will give Anambra people work to the minimum of not less than 40% of the workers. They built a facility in Anambra State. That facility is there today, employing directly and indirectly over 10,000 Anambrarians. They have been one of the highest revenue source for the state. Even some of their waste, the biggest bakery we have in Anambra State collects waste from them. There's so many things that company have done in terms of helping the state, transporters, this, that, and everything. The shares was at a time being sold at 50 naira. Today the shares is about 5 naira or so, and then maybe that was what was referred. But in overall of what I left is less than 5%.
Okay.
That particular investment is less than 5%. So if you calculate what I left 75 billion. If you go and sell the dollars today, even at 600, it's 150 billion. Plus 60 billion of the naira is 210 billion. Even if that one is wasted, 3 times what I invested is still there. When you spread your investment, some will go up, some will come down. But overall, the company is still there. The company is still doing well. It's still part of a global chain and everything. I needed to explain it not because I'm defending comment by my brother. My brother is the brother. I miss my brother. We're very close. I remain prayerful for him. For other things which I didn't succeed, God has given him opportunity to do it and succeed. For me, Yes. So if there's anything pending, governance you don't finish. People are still in government in America. So you stop where you stop, other people will continue from there. I don't look back. He's the governor of my state. I'll always, he's my senior brother. He's even more intelligent because he's a professor, I'm a trader. So he knows more. So he'll be able to do things better than I'm doing it. You know, I've done my little one as a trader. Now the professor is there. He will do his own as a professor. The schools that didn't roof, he will roof them. That's how government goes. Another person comes, do his own. But let us think about, finally, like I tell the people, for those of you who are, please get involved. All of us are going to tell you a good story. All of us are going to say the same thing. But it's who can we trust? Even in this one they're talking about me, some said he kept money and he did not. I said, even in the Bible, the man said, since you know I know, why did you keep my money for 7? If everybody who has passed through Nigeria, who did nothing, kept money, are we going to be in problem now? We have had the money to do something. At least I kept the money. But in this one, I did something and I gave money. Next year's election, please, I'm begging all of you, should not be based on ethnicity. Don't ever do it. The Yorubas don't buy bread cheaper. Neither do Hausas or Northerners buy bread cheaper. The Southwest people don't buy bread cheaper. Igbos don't buy bread cheaper. Let nobody take it about ethnicity. Everybody's suffering. Do not do it because of religion. No religion buys anything cheaper. No, there's no religion that I want to talk about electricity. I said everywhere I go, Central Mosque in London, the land was donated by the Queen. The Queen is not a Muslim. That land is worth over $500 billion. What? $1 billion. He gave it to them free. If you go to Dubai, I'm a Catholic. The Catholic church in Dubai, the land and the church was built by Emir of Dubai. He donated the land, built it. It's only here that people tell you about religion. If you know people, any church they buy anything cheaper, show me and start going there. They'll buy the food. So let nobody give us the excuse. And it's nobody's turn. It is turn of Nigerians to take back their country. So let nobody say it is turn. So it is their turn. They must take back their country. So next year's election must be on character we can trust. If you say you're not corrupt, nobody is a saint. I'm not. I've never claimed to be. And I don't know everything. The little I know, I've tried. You know. But if you say you're not going to fight corruption, let's know where you passed through. How much did you live there? How much was missing? At least today I said where I left $150 million, left 30 billion naira. Let other people come and show where they left their own. I've said, go to Anambra State. If you see a piece of land allocated to P2OB, directly or indirectly, or the wife or anybody, come and stop campaigning. So I say I will fight corruption head on because I've experimented it somewhere. I want you people who are not the employers to explain it very well. Next year's election must be character we can trust. It must be based on competence. It must be based on capacity and commitment to do the right thing. And remember, this job requires physical and mental energy to do it. We don't want people telling us this thing. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much.